Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. And as I promised earlier today, we have another review episode with another person from the UK connection in the co-captain's chair, Mr. Steven Reid. What's going on? You missed Simon. He says hello. We'll see him again, though.
It's okay. He's just out in the garden. He's just outside here. That's fine.
He hasn't come in yet? Gee.
No, still out there. Still, he's now out in the dark. He thinks
Ah,
it's still funny. You
yeah,
know,
that's right. I forgot that was a couple hours ago, so he's no longer in the sunshine. Oh, well. Unless he loved it so much out there, he's going to spend all night out there. Just
that's
come
it.
back, please. Come back. He had his
It's meant to be.
sunglasses on and everything. I mean, he was.
It's meant to be nice tomorrow too. He's still outside. There
There
we
you
go.
go. There
That
you
early.
go. So, by popular demand, of course, because it's all everybody's been talking about for the last week, is the overview by Steven Wilson. It's the brand new release on Virgin Records. What is it? Fiction? Steven Wilson Productions? I don't know what this fiction nonsense is. Fiction Records? I guess. I don't know. I can't keep up with all these labels anymore. It's like every time I turn around, there's another label.
It says fiction on the back of mine too.
Yeah. Fiction music, or Fiction Records, a division of Virgin Music Group. Oh, so now it's a division of Virgin. When did that happen? I don't know. Who cares? So you have the vinyl, I have the CD.
No, no, not the vinyl.
Oh, oh, is that the big media book thing? Oh, wow. Okay. Gotcha. And the regular. Okay. Yeah, that one looks different than mine. One of everything that's available, right?
There's a story here. There's a story. Okay, so I'm
Okay.
going to see him in. I think it's May. And if you
Uh-oh. Looks like we have Frozen. Steven has Frozen or I have Frozen. Oh, wait, is
well,
he back?
there we go. Well, are you back? You're now
Or are
moving.
you back? I don't know. Yeah, one of us. Well,
Who knows? You'd frozen at this end. I'd frozen. So let's do that again. Okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah, 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 yeah,
okay,
yeah. Okay, back. Yeah, okay, there we
absolutely. So I had to buy this for the pre-sale for the tickets. I bought this sometime last year, signed and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, yeah, okay, fine, buy the CD because I want the CD. Behind me here is a selection of Porcupine Tree things like this, and the Steve Wilson ones are just over here somewhere. So I had to get this, didn't I? I really had to get this. So you get a second CD, there's a Blu-ray, and all this kind of thing. And then just this week, for suckers like me, all right, or as a certain George Lamy would describe me, a fanboy.
go.
Okay, right. He's absolutely right, I mean, he's absolutely right. This is an exclusive UK version that was only available for a week. How to tag me, people like me, and make me buy it again, even though I've only just received it. And it is called the Overview Disconnected, because you get all the tracks not joined together. Okay,
Okay.
plus a few bonus tracks, so single edits and various things like that. So yes, I've actually got three versions of this already.
Now, I wonder how many copies of that when they printed up. Probably like maybe 500 or 1,000. And if they're
I
only,
don't know. It wasn't numbered in that sense. I don't think. Can't remember. All I know is that the email came in and I bought it immediately because you had literally a week in which to buy it, and if you didn't buy it within that week, it's gone. That's the theory. As with all of these things, let's wait and see what happens in a few months, years' time when they suddenly go. Actually, we've got another 3,000 of these, so we'll see. We'll
which I'm
see. So
sure will
yes,
happen. Yeah.
I've got a three version. There's a lot to digest even on just one version of it. Put it that way.
Yeah. And as he has kind of stated in the press, in the media, this album was going to be kind of like his return back to prog rock, space rock, I guess, sort of, right? And
That's the theory. That's what we were told in the build up. No doubt
yeah,
about it.
and I would say for the most part that's kind of true. He's got a bunch of people helping him out here,
Yep.
notably Russell and Adam Holzman on drums and keyboards,
Yep.
Randy McStein on
Hmm.
guitars and things. Pretty damn good guitar player, I might add. I don't think I
Yeah,
ever
isn't he
really,
just?
yeah, right. I mean, well, Theo Travis is here, Andy Partridge is here. Who am I
Andy
missing?
Partridge writes lyrics on one song. There you go.
That's
He's
right.
not
Yeah.
playing on the album as such. Yeah.
Willow Beggs is here. Craig Blundell is here on a couple tracks, and yeah, I think that's most. Rodham
Yeah.
Wilson here on voice.
Rotem Wilson, I presume, is Steve Wilson's wife. She does the voiceover on the second long track.
Yeah.
And you've also got a guy called Nick Sonev, Tsonev on guitar, who I'd never heard of before and I haven't had time to look up. So apologies to
Myself
Nick.
as
He
well.
plays one guitar solo in the second track. So there's
Yeah,
lots of people involved. Nobody's involved on every track apart from Steven Wilson.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. And he's I was talking to Simon about this off Kramer earlier. I guess that's kind of been the case for a while, but I've noticed, like, as someone who was listening to Porcupine Tree, like early on, very early on in their career, I was always, you know, very much into his guitar playing.
Mm.
And I think he's a very good guitar player. But I've noticed in more recent years, he has downplayed his guitar playing a bit. And on a lot of his solo stuff, he brings in other people to do solos or whatnot. I guess that's by choice, maybe because he feels there are better people than him to play this stuff. I always kind of want to hear him. Don't get me wrong. I think Randy McStein is doing some great stuff on here. So I'm not really going to bitch about it. I just more of an observation than anything else. Um, I do got to say, I don't like the cover at all. First of all, the shit's so damn small. I literally can't read it. I don't even know what it's supposed to say. It's even small on that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can read it. Maybe not if I remove these, to be fair, but I
Yeah.
can read it. The artwork inside, I don't know where I'm going to open this, so who knows? I'll open it. It's quite cool.
Oh, that's
I have
nice.
to say. And some of it, the pages fold out, so they're like four leaves and various things. So, yeah, the inside of this is very smart indeed. I really do like it. Not much in the way of text. You do get the lyrics interspersed through it, but it's a beautiful thing. But the actual artwork, yeah, it's okay. I prefer the back, in actual fact.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would
there
agree.
you go. Yeah, I'm not blown away by this, and definitely doesn't work so well on the standard CD size. It's not exciting on this size at all.
No, it's just really tiny and whatnot. And so just to give everybody a little kind of quick synopsis here, we've got essentially two long side-long tracks, right? In,
Yes.
in vinyl terms, right? We've got Objects Outlive Us, which is 23 minutes and change, comprised of eight little mini tracks, and then the overview, the title track, 1821, which is comprised of six little movements. Um, to me, I think each long track has a similar type feel, but stands apart from the other. But you have to listen to it as a whole because I think it's one of those albums that kind of like drifts along in its merry way, but then little bits and pieces do stick out, and some of it just kind of segues into the next. And it's funny because Stephen reached out to me, I don't know, 2 days ago and said, if you want to do a joint review, I'm just about ready. And I'm like, I need a couple more listens because the first few, like 3, 4 listens, to me, it all just kind of like blended into each other. And I was like, I'm not grabbing any of this, right? It's nothing's really jumping out at me. But I think it's one of those albums that you really can't just put on as background music. This is not your Tangerine Dream, spacey, you know, krautrock, electronic, space rock, whatever the hell you want to call it. There are lots of really interesting things going on in this album, but it's not like I'll use the first track as an example. It's not like Objects Outlive Us, like every little bit of the eight little mini tracks that make up that long track to me stand out as like, look at me, listen to me. But some of them do. And some of it's really good. Some of it's
Yeah.
kind of uneventful, right? It's weird.
I first listened to this probably in the wrong circumstances, really. I listened to it on a sunny Saturday afternoon, which does happen in Scotland, but not very often. And I must admit that by the time I got to the end of I think it's 41 minutes and a few seconds long, it's quite short by Stephen Wilson standards,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
short by modern album standards. Prog, anyway. Is it prog? Anyway, let's not get there. Um, and I must admit that the first time it finished, I actually said out loud, "Is that it?" Genuinely kind of went, right, okay. And I immediately listened to it again and realised that the first track was beginning to grab me. It's much more instant. The vocals are kind of more obvious. There's more kind of vocal harmonies. It's lusher. It's more obvious. And I was really disenchanted by the second track, the title track. I was really just kind of going, well, I don't really get this. And I decided that the next time I was going to listen to it, I was going to change the circumstances completely. So I did the good old fashioned put the headphones on, wait till it was late at night. Everybody else was in bed or whatever. And it was dark, and I put it on. and thought, okay, hold on, there is much more going on here than I realized. And there's definitely, we're very good, myself included, everybody these days. We listen to an album twice and go, oh, it's great, or oh, it's terrible. And I've seen a lot of people really say this is rubbish after clearly one listen. It is not a one listen album. It's really
No,
not.
no, it isn't.
Yeah.
No.
And I've found that now I'm on, I don't know how many listens, a lot, that I'm really, really beginning to go. This still maybe feels a little bit early. I've had it for 5 days. And I still kind of feel a little underprepared, really, to say this is what I absolutely think about it. What I like is that I actually like and dislike something that is very similar about it. So I feel Stephen Wilson was talking about this being a kind of space rock, prog rock album. Yeah, okay, those are the flavors. It's not Hawkwind, okay, and it's not mega proggy. But I can hear early Porcupine Tree in this album. I hear those early kind of spacey kind of albums that they did, and I hear there's like a very pronounced voiceover spoken part in track two that will split opinions. If you don't like spoken parts, you're not going to like it,
Yeah.
and it is very repetitive. It reminded me of Albedo 0.39 by Vangelis, where it's just the same thing that's kind of repeated over and over. You either buy into that and it becomes quite hypnotic, or you get annoyed by it. And a lot of comment online, people would appear to be annoyed by it. So I hear that, and I hear kind of light bulb sun sort of feel about it. There's that kind of, these are rock songs in a progressive setting with spacey themes. But production wise, this is Steven Wilson here and now. So that actually production wise, sound wise, not musically, links to the future bites, but it links more strongly also with the music to the harmony codex. And I think for a lot of people who want a certain thing from Stephen Wilson, the key is what it misses out. And you don't get much, say, from Dead Wing through to the end of Porcupine Tree. There's none of that kind of heavy Porcupine Tree feel.
No.
And you don't get that sweet spot of the Raven and Hand Cannot Erase. That's not here. None of that series. He's gone either side of this and he brings it together. And I think it really works, to be honest. I didn't at the start. I really, really didn't at the start. I definitely do now. Along the same sort of feel, the downside, I would suggest, is that this could be nobody else other than Stephen Wilson. I feel like I've heard some of the guitar tones on this before.
Yep.
I feel like I've heard some of the guitar runs on this before, even though he's not done the leads. I feel like I've heard a lot of the keyboard patches before, to the extent that you almost kind of go, that's on as it goes past. And I actually have found that quite distracting, even as I've gotten to know the album, where I kind of go, now that sounds like a bit from, oh no, hold on, listen to what's on.
Yep.
So yeah, it's great for an artist to have his thing. That's his sound. That's what he does. I would kind of maybe like a different texture or two in here, and that's it. It feels very narrow that this is what Stephen Wilson is doing, and this is what he's done now. But I'm going to pull from what I've done before. And then there's a lot of obvious influences from. I mean, he loves prog rock from the '70s, so there's lots of Floyd on here.
It's
But it's
lots.
more that
Like
kind of
you mentioned
yeah,
Hawkwind before. There's certain ways where he's using synthesizers on this album, which remind me of vintage Hawkwind. I, like you mentioned before, kind of like, what we would expect in hearing things that sound familiar. I found like Objects Outlive Us, to me, sounds like him trying to do something a little bit different. It's not
mhm,
really what you would expect from him. And then once you're on the overview and you get to like the Beautiful Infinity 1 and the Beautiful Infinity 2, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds like Steven Wilson. That's like what we'd expect. It's almost like he threw those in there and they're well done. That kind of like dreamy, drifty pop prog thing that he does so well with those great vocals. And you're like, I'm going to throw this in here so at least I give people a little bit of familiarity, but I'm going to go in a lot of different directions on the rest of this, which he does. And you're right. There's not a lot of that big bombastic guitar heavy stuff from that real classic era of Porcupine Tree, but he throws it in there occasionally. You'll get these
mhm.
little bursts of riffs that last like a minute and a half, and then it's gone. And then you get back to the drifty, ethereal, whatever you want to call the rest of this. So yeah, there's like a little bit of everything in here. I think, one of the things I was talking to Simon about earlier, because he asked me because he's been really enjoying it. He's like it's one of those albums where it's only 40 minutes, 41 minutes or so. He goes, I can go put it on my headphone, put it on, listen to it in headphones, go out and walk the dog, and by the time I come back, it's over, it's done, it's enjoyable, it's perfect for that setting. And I think because it's not that long, that works in its favor. One of the things I told Simon though, it's like, now that I've had this and listened to it quite a bit over the last not quite week. Um, I don't know what the replay value is going to be for me like a month or two or three or six from now compared to other stuff in his catalog.
Okay.
Like I'm just wondering like what more am I possibly going to get from this? Because it is to me this is very much mood music. It's not something I'm going to put on as background music because it demands your attention a little bit more, but it's not gym music. It's I think kind of like what you said. It's like sit down late at night and just immerse yourself into it type of an album. And I just wonder, like, am I going to reach for this before reaching for The Raven or for reaching for any of those, a bunch of other albums we've already named by him solo or Porcupine Tree. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I think I like it. I don't know how much I'm going to be all that interested in revisiting it going forward. That's where I'm struggling right now.
I think, at the risk of getting too deep on this, that says an awful lot about us and now. Because if you look at the music that this is influenced by, so 70s progressive rock, realistically, that's the overriding themes here. Well, you didn't listen to it in the gym because you couldn't. Do you know when you wanted to listen to Dark Side of the Moon or Echoes or anything, you had to sit down and you had to put a nail on a record and you had to listen to it and you had to devote yourself to that for the 30, 40 minutes that that album was. And I think that's what this is trying to do. It's trying to say, you have to really sit and listen to me. Otherwise, you're not going to get, you have to give yourself to this album or you're not going to be able to receive back what it gives. There's a concept here, whether you like that kind of thing or not. It's all about space and it's all about the big picture, and there's so much out there, but it really isn't. It's actually about now and life and human beings and the mundanity of what we focus on and get worried about rather than seeing that this really doesn't matter. But it kind of does, because obviously what happens to you every day does matter.
Yeah.
I do think it's an album that harks back to a time where, remember Andy Tillison from The Tangent talking about this many years ago? He said that, he wanted to make albums that people had to sit down in his world. I don't do either of these things, with a cup of coffee and a cigarette and listen to the album from start to finish in that way. Life doesn't work like that now, and I understand that completely. I must admit that I chose to sit with headphones on, with nobody else around, and just listen to this album. And I did it twice back to back.
Yeah.
And it became a much better album for it. And I now feel a stronger connection to it when I don't listen to those circumstances, because I don't have those circumstances very often either, to be fair, because my life doesn't really work like that unless I make it
Right.
either. Will I listen to Over the Raven that refused to sing? That depends on my mood, I suppose, and it depends on the circumstance. It's not as exciting as that album, but I think in terms of mood and atmosphere, it's got a lot to say for itself. It's difficult when an artist has made more than one, and he's very fortunate in that sense. He's made, I would suggest, two really trademark, landmark solo albums, and he's made at least one or two with Porcupine Tree. Where do you go from there? I'm talking about
Yeah,
repeating
true.
himself in various things. It's very difficult. The guy's got a million albums across too many projects, really, kind of. So it's difficult not to do all of those things. And then it's difficult to please people. Some people want to remake those two albums, The Raven and Hand. And other people like me would go, oh, where's the point in
You
that?
already have those, right? We don't need
Yeah,
another one. Yeah.
have to move on. He has to move on.
Yeah.
But he's also going to leave a lot of people behind as he does so. So I have felt quite nonplussed about Harmony Codex and this new album as they've been released. And I discovered with the Harmony Codex that when I did go back to it, and I went back to it because I felt that I didn't really know it very well, that I suddenly kind of went, oh, wow, this is quite good, isn't it? and that to me is a thing, is I do think it's going to be an album that I maybe don't play a lot, but when I do, I will go, oh, wow. Yeah, that's way better than I give it
Well,
credit for.
that's a good point, I think, because that goes back to my conundrum, right? It's like, how often may I reach for this going forward? I don't know, but I think based on I have enjoyed it.
Hmm.
And here's the weird thing, and I think it's a me thing. I have found, like, if I look at Pete Pardo in 2025 as opposed to me 30 years ago, I think stuff like this, where you have these two gargantuan live tracks that the little pieces just segue into each other, all these different. So I was much, much more um, willing to accept that. Whereas me today is like, and this is where it gets interesting. It's like, I kind of want songs. I feel like I'm missing songs here, but yet when he does an album full of like shorter pop songs like a couple of years ago, what did I do? I pushed that away. I don't like that, right? So, I'm pretty open about a lot of things, but sometimes stuff like this is like I find like I've gotten very critical of some of these artists that just kind of constantly keep changing things, and I'm like, well, wait a second, but I want you to do that. Oh, but I don't like that. Oh, but this is too much like that. It's like whatever. So I mean, end result is I do like this. I do find this enjoyable, and like I said, I've immersed myself in it quite a bit over the last few days, and I think there's lots to dig here. I think. I need to spend more time with it. And I think, and again, I'm gonna have to force myself because the thing is I've already got like five other things I need to get to. And so it's like, right? I mean, that's
I was going to say that is it's interesting because when we were younger, okay, that's real people. We were actually young at one point.
yes.
Um, an album like this would have been an event,
And
right?
you spend weeks and months listening to this and nothing else,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
And you wouldn't have had snippets online that you could go back to and listen to 100 times and all this kind of stuff. We don't really, I think when you get to this age, you don't really do event albums anymore. It's just an album that comes out and you kind of listen to it. And people like you and I tend to review an awful lot of things and we buy an awful lot of music. I'm the same as you. I can reel off a whole pile of stuff over here that needs listened to. It needs listened to. It's going, hi, I demand your attention.
Yes.
And it makes me not want to digest an album that actually doesn't immediately go, I'm really good. And I don't think that this album goes, I'm really good. But what it does do is it goes, I'm really interesting. And I've managed to kind of devote myself to it and ignore the noise to kind of go, well, yeah, actually, it's really interesting. I don't know if it's brilliant yet or not. The time
Yeah.
will tell on that, but it is really interesting. Scores are really difficult in this. What do you think?
I'm going like 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. If you'd asked me on listen to, I'd have told you three, because I genuinely had listened to it twice and gone, don't really remember very much of this at all. By listen kind of six or seven, I was going, this is a solid 3.5.
Yeah.
I've listened to this at least 4 times today. I'm at 4 out of 5 now.
Okay. I
My
can
heart
see
of
myself
hearts,
getting there. Yeah.
I don't necessarily. Well, I would say I'm at about 3.8 is where I am, but we don't do that. It's 3.5 or it's 4. So I'm going to go 4. Um, and with sometimes I'll say, yeah, and it might go further. I'm not convinced it will actually. I think that it might settle in around that kind of 4 out of 5. I don't think that in 10 years' time I'll say it's a defining moment in Stephen Wilson's catalogue. But I will probably say, do you know what? It's a really solid album that has grown in affection over the years.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's where I am with it.
I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, it's Steven Wilson. It's dreamy, it's spacey, it's progressive. There's little bits of pop on here. There's ambient stuff on here. There's like a little bit of everything. The playing from everybody is great. There's loads of keyboards. I wish there was a little more guitar, but that's okay. Yeah, it's definitely, as we mentioned, it's definitely something you really need to kind of let sink in and pay attention to. Just putting it on casually in the background, you're just going to be like, I didn't get anything from that because you need to give it that time, I really think. Because that's, like you said, with me, it was the same thing. I really had to, like, at least three listens in a row, really kind of pay attention to it and listen for things and jot down ideas and, like, well, what was I hearing? And I went with rewound and numerous times, and I want to hear that piece again. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where the rewards keep kind of coming,
Hmm.
but then you get done, you're like, okay, it's different. How spectacular it is or isn't, I guess, remains to be seen at this point.
What I will add, but just before we go, the production's fantastic. I know everyone's
Yeah.
just taken it for granted because it's Stephen Wilson. It sounds amazing. I genuinely, I put it on, and even on first time of listening, thinking, yeah, I'm not really loving this. I did think, it really puts a lot of new music in the shade, production wise. It
Yeah.
really made me realize that an awful lot of production these days isn't that great, if I was to be quite honest with you, because this sounds amazing. It sounds absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it does. It does. So. So for those who have heard it already, let us know what you think about it down in the comments below. And if you haven't checked it out and you're at all mildly interested in Steven Wilson, we recommend you do. It's definitely a little bit different than his last couple releases, but there are elements from throughout his catalog that are represented here, and his influences, of the things that he's listened to and he loves from throughout the years are here. So it's definitely cool. So the overview by Steven Wilson. So we got between a 3.5 and a 4. Both of us are kind of somewhere in that 3.75, 3.8 range or thereabouts. Maybe they'll go higher, maybe they'll go lower. We'll see. So check it out and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn
All the
time.
damn time.
Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Tune in just a couple days because we'll be back together with that third character that always joins us each and every other episode on the UK Connection. Simon Bray, Stephen, and myself will be back in just a few short days. We're actually waiting for him to come into the room because we are taping today. Shh, don't tell anybody. And we've got a fun show for you planned about albums in our collection that we really have no idea what they're all about and how they got there. So, but more on that later. Tune in on Saturday to find out what they are. For Stephen, I am Pete. Have a good one, everybody. See you soon. Take care. Bye bye.